Alright, so the Eagles just got a much-needed win over the Browns, but it wasn't very pretty, as an up-and-down day for the offense and some crucial mistakes could have cost the Birds this game, and star right tackle Lane Johnson seems pretty pissed off, as he let out some of his frustrations with the Eagles offense after the game. Meanwhile, it seems like head coach Nick Sirianni let out his frustrations by yelling at some Eagles fans after the game, and despite the win, the calls for Sirianni's job are as loud as they've ever been. But luckily for him, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown came to the rescue, and along with some others, saved the day for the offense in this one, while the defense also had a great performance where a few surprising players stood out. So we're going to talk about all that and everything else from the Eagles' ugly win over the Browns starting right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And man, it's kind of hard to know how to feel after that game, as of course the Eagles won and there were definitely some positive things that happened, but there were also plenty of negative things and reasons to be frustrated with what we saw out on the field. I mean, leading into this matchup and coming off the bye week, I feel like there was a sense that this game was incredibly important and it was going to tell a lot about where this Eagles team was and what they could accomplish moving forward, just considering that, you know, the Browns are obviously not a very good team, while the Eagles were coming off a bye week where hypothetically they had the chance to make a lot of adjustments and fix their issues, on top of the fact that they were going to get some of their best players back from injury, so this was the perfect chance for them to get right and make a statement by getting a convincing win. Yet, they weren't able to do that, and a lot of the same issues from earlier in the season were still very much present. And that was on display starting on the very first drive of the game, as one of the Eagles' biggest issues all year long has been starting slow on offense, and in this game, it was no different, as the Birds went 3 and out on their very first drive of the game, and on their second drive, they picked up just one first down before having to punt again after a few incompletions from Jalen Hurts. And once again, the Eagles failed to score a first quarter point, which they still have yet to do all season, which is honestly just insane 6 weeks in and 5 games in, especially with just the sheer amount of talent that the Eagles have on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it's honestly just unacceptable at this point, yet I'm sure all Eagles fans will be thrilled to hear that while he did say they have to be better, head coach Nick Sirianni, fresh off a crazy haircut, also defended the offense for the slow start while also praising the defense for their start.
You know what? I mean, you guys keep talking about it, and then, you know, we have defense started fast. Right, defense started fast. Like, we started slow first two series, we didn't score, but then they put their head down and they went down and got points, and then they did it again. So like, I don't want that to be in their heads. You know, we didn't execute, we didn't call good enough plays, and we didn't score early on, but we scored. You know, we scored and got up 10-0. So. I think as a team we started well. Just, you know, we can start a little faster offensively. We'll keep working on that because y'all are making a big deal about it. I mean, it's like, guys, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna fix it. We've known how to score in the past. Like, we get it. You guys have a job to do, and you're gonna fixate on one thing, and you're gonna be like, oh, they haven't started fast, or they haven't turned the ball over. Like, we got it. Like. We're going to do everything we can do to fix it. Like, and I don't want that to be in their heads. That's why I'm basically telling you guys, all right, we got it. We'll figure it out. And so sometimes you get things in your head and you continue and it kind of, you know, works there. But like, the defense started their off. The defense started their. It was 10-0 to start the football game off, and the defense didn't let up a play. And so they played their. So they started fast, right? And we'll get it figured out on offense.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm too big a fan of this response. And look, I get it. You're fresh off a win. You want to stay positive about the good things that happened, whatever. But that still doesn't change the fact that the offense just cannot continue to start as slow as they have, and also that Sirianni and the coaches are a huge reason for why it's been happening. I mean, we all know that the first 2 drives are scripted during game planning during the week by the coaches, and in those first 2 drives in this game, while there were some run plays, which was good, Jalen Hurts started over 5, and every single pass seemed to be down the field or a deep shot of some kind, and nothing was going over the middle. And that has Nick Sirianni's name written all over it. So not only does it seem like Nick is still trying to keep his imprint on this offense, but it also just rubs me the wrong way when he gives an answer like that, where he seems to be kind of trying to downplay the slow start. Now, yes, he did say that they'll figure it out and they have to be better, but we've already heard that countless times before from him and other guys, and I feel like coming off a bye week and just going up against a beat-up Browns defense, that was their best chance to get things right. So it's just a little bit frustrating that this issue still very much exists, and that Nick Sirianni is downplaying it. Now, that being said, I can give credit to the defense, as overall, I think they played one of their best games of the season so far, no question. I mean, they didn't allow the Browns offense to score a single touchdown, they forced multiple 3-and-outs, and they also got 5 sacks in this game after having just 6 through the first 4 games. So it was definitely good to see the pass rush get going a little bit, and again, just overall, good to see the Eagles have a solid defensive performance, which Jalen Hurts made sure to shout out immediately after the game, even though he wasn't even asked about it. And I think that just kind of shows you what kind of teammate and leader that he is. But But staying with the defense, there's definitely a few players that stood out and deserve some praise for their performance in this game, with one of them being the rookie Quinyon Mitchell, who was locked down once again in this one, allowing only 1 catch for 10 yards on 5 targets, while allowing a team-low 39.6 passer rating when targeted, and also getting a pass breakup on what should have been a pick, but he and CJ Gardner-Johnson ran into each other on a play where both could have had the interception. So again, shout out to Q for another great performance, and for clearly being one of this team's bright spots this year. But he wasn't the only young cornerback who impressed in this game, as Cooper DeJean made his first NFL start, and he was fantastic, and he may have actually been the Eagles' best player on defense in this one, as he had 6 tackles, he didn't allow a single first down, and he got some good pressure on the quarterback on multiple occasions, while also getting half a sack at one point. So it was definitely a very, very exciting first start for Cooper DeJean, and it makes me confident that he's going to be a good player for this defense moving forward. And someone else who I'm actually much more confident in after this game is Bryce Huff, who, after an incredibly disappointing first 4 games as an Eagle, was much better in this game, as he had the other half of the sack that Cooper DeJean got, and he also was much better just getting off at the snap and getting pressure. And as a result, he ended up being graded as one of the Eagles' top 4 defenders in this game by PFF, which is kind of crazy just considering how bad he looked in the first 4 matchups. And Huff's newfound success can actually seemingly be credited to one big change that the Eagles made over the bye week, as in this game, the Eagles lined Bryce Huff up in a 4-point stance much more than they have in previous games, and it paid off. And I actually do want to shout out NFL analyst Brian Baldinger, as before the bye week, he said that the Eagles were using Bryce Huff wrong, and an adjustment to line him up in more 4-point stances would really help him out.
Last year, Bryce Huff had 10 sacks for the Jets. This is how he rushed. In a 4-point stance, he's a sprinter. His nickname is the Bugatti. He has a great takeoff. That's what he does. That's how the Jets played him. In a 4-point stance with great takeoff. Now, you watch him here. Now he's a linebacker. Now he's in a 2-point stance, standing up. They haven't beaten anybody. He's playing linebacker. He's trying to see too much right here. And backup tackles like Justin School can block him. All right? This is not how Bryce Huff got 10 sacks.
Yeah, safe to say Baldy was spot on there, as now they've made that change to put him in more 4-point stances, and Huff was much better. And he also just seems to feel more comfortable, as after the game he told Andrew DeCecco that he just felt that he was playing faster and more free. So on one hand, I'm definitely happy that they made that switch, but it also does make me just question how in the world the Eagles coaches and front office didn't identify this about Huff earlier, like maybe when they were acquiring him or just earlier in the offseason at some point. But you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to complain, and hopefully this huge adjustment really helps Bryce Huff get going and become a difference maker moving forward. And overall, just getting back to the defense, it was just so good to see them have a much better performance in this one, as they allowed just 9 points and didn't allow the Browns to get into the end zone even once, so I gotta give them credit. Now, some issues were definitely still present, as they struggled with the Browns' run game at times and the quick passing game also, and Deshaun Watson was nearly perfect in the second half, which is a little bit unnerving, but again, overall, they had a good performance, and I just don't want to complain too much, because they were definitely one of the positives in this one. Offensively, however, it was a little bit more up and down, as there were some good, but also plenty of bad, and the bad specifically has one player a little pissed off. And don't worry, we're going to get into that and so much more in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this coming in the future, then make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us, because not only do I get more people consistently watching these videos, but you don't miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this. So again, subscribe, turn on notifications, and also drop a like. Let's see if we can get to 800 likes on this video. And now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So as I was saying, the offense was pretty up and down all game, and the first half was a perfect example of that, as after the extremely slow start that I previously mentioned, the Eagles and Jalen Hurts started to get on a bit of a roll, as they started to lean more on the run game and some short passes over the middle, which we didn't really see on the first 2 drives. And sure, they did stall out and had to settle for a field goal, but it was definitely good to see them commit to the run game more and use some of the short passes over the middle. And on the next drive, they did the same thing, as backup tight end Grant Calcaterra got a huge 34-yard gain on a play-action rollout, which was just awesome to see. And then a few nice plays later, the Birds were in a 3rd and 7, and Jalen Hurts went deep to A.J. Brown and hit him over the shoulder for the 22-yard touchdown to put the Birds up 10-0. And sure, maybe the pass was a couple feet behind where it should have been, but overall, I still think it was a solid throw to put it where only A.J. could get it, and a fantastic catch by A.J., whose concentration and hands are just unbelievable. And then on the next drive, the connection of Jalen to AJ was on full display once again, as after Jalen threw a great ball to Grant Calcaterra down the middle of the field for 20 yards, Hurts and Brown connected for a couple nice gains, and they had the Eagles set up perfectly to score another touchdown or at least a field goal before halftime and cushion their lead. But this is where things went south for the offense, as Saquon caught a short pass and got out of bounds before getting the first down, where he should have easily got it, and then on the next play, which was 3rd and 1 with 2 timeouts left, the Eagles opted to throw it, and Barkley failed to execute and pick up a blitz, and Jalen Hurts was sacked, pushing the Eagles farther back and forcing a long field goal try. Now, there's some talk about why the Eagles decided to throw it in this situation, where if they would have ran it, they probably would have got the first down and then they could have just called a timeout. And also, in that situation where you do run it, you also don't risk taking a sack and being backed up. So that argument is definitely very valid, and I'm sure Eagles fans will be very happy to know that it was in fact Nick Sirianni who made this decision to throw it in this situation.
You know, obviously we'll keep stuff that I'll never try to give a competitive advantage to anybody else. So, I'll say this. I made the call on 3rd and 1, nobody else but me. And, like I said to you, sometimes I did that on defense one time as well. Made a call on defense. That didn't work out, just so you know. I'll put that out there. That wasn't on Vic. I won't tell you which play. But I'm going to do that from time to time. This time it didn't work. And so that's not nobody else but me.
Dude, I honestly don't know why Nick Sirianni just refuses to let Kellen Moore have full control of the offense in crucial moments like this especially. And this call here is just another example of what could probably be considered a poor decision by Sirianni, although to be fair, the players also just gotta execute better. But moving on, the Eagles were still in position to get some points in the form of a 57-yard field goal, but this is where Myles Garrett decided that he was gonna completely flip this game as he blocked the field goal, which was then recovered by the former Eagle Rodney McLeod, who took it all the way back into the end zone for the touchdown. So instead of it now being what could have been a 17-3 game or a 13-3 game, it was now all tied up at 10 apiece going into halftime, which in my mind was just unacceptable considering that the Eagles were playing the Cleveland Browns, one of the worst teams in the entire league, yet this was a competitive game, tie game going into half. And then the offense didn't get going again until midway through the 3rd quarter when they were able to gain some yardage and get a field goal to go with 3 points. And then they really turned it on in their next drive, getting a touchdown in just 4 plays by way of a DeVonta Smith catch and run on a drag route for 45 yards. And on this play, Jack Stoll did a really good job of running interference to get somebody open. And again, this is just an instance of a short over-the-middle throw paying off for the Eagles. So I don't understand why they don't do it more. And with this play, the Eagles took a 20-13 lead. And then after the defense held the Browns to a field goal, it was up to the offense to milk the clock and hold on to a 4-point lead that they had to win the game. And the Eagles did that to perfection as Kellen Moore called a perfect drive, as Nick Sirianni eventually put it after the game, committing to running the ball with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and making the Browns take their timeouts until they eventually came to a 2nd and 11 with 2 minutes to go, and Jalen Hurts hit AJ Brown on a deep ball of 40 yards to pick up the first down and essentially seal the 20-16 win. And apparently, this was actually something that Jalen alerted to after he and AJ got a look that they liked pre-snap, so it was a great play by them to both get into the play and execute it. And they both actually talked about this after the game.
That 40-yard catch at the end there to kind of seal the game, was that the design play? Was that the play all along? Was to throw it?
No, the play all along was to throw me the ball, but we saw a look that we liked and we made the play.
It's an alert in my mind, yeah. So when you alert something, it always has the potential to be number one. That's not necessarily the guy that is drawn up to go to, but everybody's accessible. I mean, he's really good at catching the deep ball. He tracks it well, knows how to use his body well, and he's very strong, and I think he's gotten faster too. So he made some great catches.
Huge shout out to both Jalen and AJ for not only just having great performances, but also changing the game with their minds in this crucial situation and getting into this play and then executing it to seal the win. And I mean, if you want to talk about what went well with the offense in this game, just look at the trio of Jalen, AJ, and DeVonta, along with backup tight end Grant Calcaterra, who deserves a huge shout out for his performance, as they all had great games. And obviously, like we all expected, having AJ and DeVonta back out there on the field changed everything for the Eagles offense. And Jalen Hurts just also played a much cleaner brand of football, as he was just overall really good in this game, as he finished 16 for 25 with 264 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, while also contributing on the ground. But the best part of his performance easily was that he had no turnovers, as there were no picks, there were no fumbles, and there wasn't even a single turnover-worthy play. So that is definitely a major step in the right direction for Hurts, who has struggled with the turnovers recently going back to last year. So again, it was great to see him take care of the football in this game, and it was a huge reason why they won the game. However, again, like I said earlier, the offense offense was very up and down in this one, as they had some moments where they looked great, they had a few plays with nice design that worked really well. I did like how they stuck with running the ball, even though it wasn't always working super well, and again, Jalen, AJ, and DeVonta were all good at times, but they also had very clear issues, whether it was the slow start or penalties or just flat out not executing. Now, did the whole Barkley flameout leading to the field goal block and return touchdown skew the final score of the game? Yes, of course it did, and again, the offense did do some great things in this game, but I still do just see it as an overall disappointment to only put up 20 points against a Browns defense that isn't as good as it once was, and that was also dealing with some major injuries. And star tackle Lane Johnson isn't too happy about it either, as he said this about the offense after the game.
Lane, it's a win, but is it disappointing that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I feel like a very constipated offense. We do some good things. We have all the stability, but we have yet to prove, that we can hit on all cylinders. So that's definitely something that's going to be on our mind. I think, moving forward, that's something we got to fix, especially starting fast. We haven't done that in 2 years, so it puts ourselves in a bind. So yeah, this game was maybe a lot more competitive than what it needed to be, but. Hats off to the Browns, man. They played hard.
It's definitely interesting to say that the offense is constipated of all words, but I actually do think that's the perfect way to describe it, and overall, I just absolutely love this answer from Lane, because he broke it down perfectly. Like, they did do some good things, they have a ton of ability, but they just cannot seem to put it all together for whatever reason, and to me, Lane sounds like he's fed up with it, he sounds pissed off, and he sounds hungry to get things fixed, so that's definitely a great sign. It's just that they've had these issues for a while now, and they've known about them, but they still have yet to fix them. And honestly, I think it's hard to argue that Nick Sirianni is not the biggest culprit right now. I mean, he clearly still has his hand in this offense, and he's refusing to let it go, and I think he's holding them back. And overall, I mean, I just think this team looks poorly coached at times, as they make mistakes that they just should not be making, and they don't always look prepared either. And I mean, I just don't know how they found a way to make this a close game against this Cleveland Browns team, who have just been absolutely horrible this year. And then on top of that, I mean, you got Sirianni losing his mind after the game, more than likely chirping at some fans sitting behind him, as there were multiple fire Nick chants in this game, and I'm sure that they were talking to him throughout the game as well, so it definitely looked like he was going back and forth with the fans a little bit. Now, he denies that this is what happened.
It looked like you were interacting with some fans at the end of the game. What was going on?
No, just excited. Just excited to get the win.
Were fans yelling things at you from the...
Just excited to get the win.
But yeah, I honestly just don't really buy into that. I mean, he definitely was going back and forth with the fans, which on one hand, it was revealed after the game that his players told Nick that they wanted him to get back to bringing more energy and emotion on the sidelines, and I also expect the fact that the fans just can't expect to say whatever they want to the players and the coaches and not get a response back, because at the end of the day, they are people too, but I just don't think it's the best look to be going at it with the fans when everyone already wants you fired in the first place, and you just beat the Cleveland Browns of all teams by only 4 points after a bye week. So I don't know, man. I think Nick's leash should definitely be very short at this point. I think AJ Brown saved him in this game. I think Jalen Hurts saved him in this game. I think DeVonta Smith saved him in this game. And if things don't change and Nick just refuses to let Kellen run the offense fully, then I just don't know how he can stay the head coach of this team for much longer. And then on top of this, the Eagles also had some very unfortunate injuries in this game, as Dallas Goedert, Darius Slay, and Jordan Mailata all went down with injuries. So hopefully those aren't too serious. But all that said, I mean, the Eagles are 3-2 and just half a game out of first place in the NFC East after a Commanders loss and a Cowboys blowout loss 47-9 to the Lions, and they still got plenty of time left in the season to get things fixed. And again, their team is super talented. So honestly, like I started this video saying, it's just kind of hard to know how to feel right now. Like, I want to be happy because yes, a win is a win, and there were plenty of positives in this game and possible reasons to be optimistic moving forward, but there was also just so many negatives too, and it's honestly just hard to feel good about a 4-point win over the Cleveland Browns, who again are one of the worst teams in the NFL, or at least they were leading into this game. And guys, honestly, I hate being negative because I feel like I'm usually the one trying to be positive and just stay rational and optimistic, but honestly, this is just how I'm feeling right now. So I don't know, maybe that'll change throughout the week and that'll reflect in my videos, but for right now, this is how I'm feeling. But you guys can let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. What did you think about this game, and how confident are you in this team moving forward? Again, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments, and also while you're at it, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any other Eagles content or coverage just like this coming throughout the rest of this entire season. And also drop a like to show some support because it really does help me out a ton. Again, let's see if we can get 800 likes today. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.